Thank you, and thanks everyone for taking time out of your schedules to be here today. So we very much appreciate that. Everyone can hear me all right, right? Good, all right, cool. So today, what I'm going to talk about here today is insights for damage prevention. So I want to give you a little background on what we do here. At Irth, we empower organizations to increase safety, efficiency, and cost savings through AI, machine learning, and data science. And that is the most important thing that, that my group does here at Irth. And the reason why that's so important, the reason we can do it so well is because we are uniquely positioned to leverage data for the benefit of all of our stakeholders. When we came on board at Irth, we all of a sudden had a lot more data and a lot more information that we can use to accomplish our goal, again, empowering you to increase safety, efficiency, and cost savings. One of the things you're going to hear me say a lot is accessibility is key here. We're doing a lot of great work, and we don't want to make it difficult at all to get these insights that we're making. And so delivery of those things is very top of mind. Another thing that's very important is the ability to explain these insights. So when we tell you something is high risk, low risk, or whatever, we don't just tell you that, we also can explain to a certain degree why that is. And that's really important, because if something's high risk and you don't know why, then how do you really mitigate it? And so knowing why is that next step into saying, this is how we can mitigate that risk, or, you know, or any other insight that we provide here. And we have a skilled team of data scientists, engineers, and analysts with decades of experience in AI and ML. And frankly, we're passionate about it. We have a lot of fun while we're doing these projects and these data science studies and things like that. And I think you're going to see that here as I go through this today. So this is kind of one way to look at the overall data science portfolio here at Irth. A lot of it is centered around safety and risk, and that makes sense. That's our goal as a company, is to increase safety and reduce risk. We also have insights that we're working on for land management, but under the safety and risk side, we have damage prevention, learning and competency and qualification. That's through our training platform, and then pipeline integrity is becoming a large focus as well. So what I'm going to be focusing on today is insights for damage prevention here. So I said earlier, we have a lot of data here at Irth. Our catalog is very extensive. We have damage prevention data, call center data, training data, environmental data, slope, fire, methane, soil, weather, and seismic information through strategic partnerships. We also have right-of-way data as of last year with our acquisition of GeoAMS, which is known as Earth Land Management now, and also inline inspection data, especially with the acquisition of OneBridge that's happening very soon. We'll have a lot of inline inspection data. And out of all of that data, we can extract these insights, again, focused around risk and safety, the most important thing, asset protection and resilience, your efficiency, not just in terms of time, but also money and quality. So when we started this, and we started this 5 years ago actually, the goal was kind of simple. We asked ourselves, what actionable insights can we provide based on the raw locate request and the raw locate request alone? So we didn't even consider things like GIS data, locate completion data, anything like that. We are simply looking at the information that comes on a raw locate request. And I'm sure most, if not all of you, are familiar with what raw locate requests are and look like. Some of you receive hundreds a day, thousands, some even receive 10,000 of these a day. So there's a lot of things to sift through and figure out where is the risk greater, where is the risk not so great. So it becomes a challenge very, very quickly. Little bit of background. I covered this last year, so I'll just kind of skim over this, but we did start this in 2019. We launched a beta in 2020. In 2021, we launched kind of our first production release, and acquired by, again, 2 years ago, almost to the day, by Irth. And last year, we released version 1.1. And I'm here to tell you today about all the things we've done since then. in the last 12 months in 2024. And I'll just say, last year I was up on this stage in Vegas and giving a presentation similar to this. So I covered a lot of great things in that presentation that I'm going to kind of skim over today. But if you like and you're interested in the content that you're seeing here in this presentation, I encourage you to go check out the presentation from last year. It is on our YouTube channel, which has a lot of content, actually. If you've never been to our YouTube channel, I highly encourage you to go check it out. There's a lot of great content, podcasts, webinars, things like that. And I do want to give a shout out to our marketing team and our audio video team over there. So if we can give them a quick round of applause. They do a great job of putting these things together and getting them into the hands and eyes of the masses here. So 2024, what have we released? What's new? We've had 4 releases in 2024. Our first release came in April. The focus there was really what's under the hood. So underneath all of the things that you see, if you're an Insights customer, get these insights from our platform. There's a lot of things that go on under the hood. And so what we introduced there is a state-of-the-art machine learning pipeline. The big takeaways there is it has automated data discovery. So as events occur, and they occur every day, our pipeline can actually go out, find data related to those events, bring them in, and run that data through our pipeline all automatically. And that amounts to retraining, which is I'll cover a little bit later. It also comes with data segregation and security in mind. That's also very important in everything we do, and ML here is no exception. A lot of performance and operational improvements, which I'll detail here in a moment. Actually right now. So the very next month, we had our next release, and we leveraged that engine. So we had that great new engine in our nice shiny car, and we took it for a spin. So the model accuracy improvements provided by that data pipeline, that ML pipeline, were significant. Usually when you have a predictive model and you can see a few % of accuracy improvement, it's a huge deal in AI and ML platforms. And here we've seen double-digit accuracy improvements. So our already great models, we're making even better predictions due to the improvements that we've made in our pipeline and our data science approach. The North America incident likelihood model, over 15% more accurate. We have a set of about 15, 20 regional and state-specific models, and their accuracy was increased by 13% on average. And then our bespoke incident likelihood models increased by at least 22.5%. And when I say bespoke, what that means is a model that's tailored specifically for an organization. So in other words, we take the data from your organization, we run it through our pipeline, create these predictive models specific to your organization, and we we almost always see significantly increased performance when we do that, as opposed to using a blended type of model. And then I mentioned also the operational improvements. So we were able to reduce our compute time when we're training these models by 75%. And reduce the compute cost by over half. So what that means is we can train models much more quickly and much more cheaply. Next release was in August, so just a few months ago. And there we introduced a brand new pipeline for a brand new insight. And that's a screening model. And so I'll go over the risk model, which I covered also last year. And that's a really, really important insight that we have. But now we also have the ability to train screening models. So you can make the decision of what should be auto-dispatched, what might be able to be auto-cleared, so you can focus on the things that need actual human decision involved with it. Also, we added support for 19 new locate request formats. A lot of people here, they operate in multiple states, and so you know that each call center has its own format. That makes things really challenging at pretty much everything we do here at Irth. It'd be fantastic if we had one consolidated format, but we actually support 83 formats now. So that's almost every state. I think that maybe Hawaii we don't support yet, but we will soon. But almost every state we support, and a lot of state call centers, they actually have more than one format. So we can support, again, 83 formats when it comes to our insights. And then finally, just this month, just a couple weeks ago, we released 1.4. This is really exciting because it is the first time that we're leveraging generative AI in what we do. And that is leveraged to provide natural language explanations. I'll go into that a little bit more here in a little bit. And then we also added a few new locate request formats. So let's dive into kind of the insights that we provide, a couple of the insights that we provide for damage prevention. The first and the most important, and that's why I'm covering it first, is risk insights. Matt kind of mentioned this earlier in his presentation. Risk is made up of two components: the likelihood that a bad event is going to happen, and the impact or consequence of if that bad thing happens, what's the consequence going to be? Is it going to be small? Is it going to be catastrophic? And so you take those two components and you can combine those to get what we see here as a risk matrix. And again, we improved our predictions around both of these components over the last 12 months significantly, double-digit improvements. Now, this is important because in an ideal world, we would all have unlimited resources, and we would all be able to put our best personnel on every locate, and we would be able to watch the excavator and everything they do whenever they break ground. But the reality is we don't have unlimited resources. So scarcity is an issue, and it becomes a resource allocation and utilization issue. Where can I take the resources that I do have available to me and make them most effective? And it would not be wise to allocate those resources to the things with low risk as much as it is to the high risk. And so how you divvy that up is critical. And these insights allow you to automatically allocate those resources accordingly based on risk, whether it's outsourcing, so dispatching it to a third-party contractor, assigning to your more tenured locators in the field for the high-risk tickets, or the more green technicians that are just coming out of training for the low-risk tickets. We could also automate excavator outreach, so sending them an email, maybe even dispatching someone to do a site visit when the excavation's starting. And then also internal and third-party audits. So after the locate's been done, having a second set of eyes go out to that location and make sure everything's located accurately and properly. And all of these automations are available in our ticket management platforms. So by using these insights, incorporating them into your process within Utilisphere or DigTix, you can then automate these kind of work order automations. So one kind of case study that I want to call out specifically, I mentioned before that bespoke models, we saw a really, really big increase in almost 22.5% in accuracy improvement. And so I wanted to just point out one such example of this. So we actually ran a kind of a case study for 4 months for a large gas electric company. This is one of the largest in North America. During that 4-month stretch, we scored a little over 250,000 tickets. Out of those 250,000 tickets, 167 incidents occurred. That's one incident per 1,550 tickets. That's a pretty industry standard kind of rate there. So, and this is actually one of the metrics that Sarah was talking about. How many incidents do you have for 1,000 tickets located? Now, during this case study, we were able to identify over a quarter of all of the incidents that occurred within 5% of the tickets. So what that means is if you focus or allocate those resources on those top 5%, you have the opportunity to reduce your damages by up to a quarter. Very, very significant. So the rate there is 1 incident per 308 tickets, or this model was 5 times better at identifying high risk than if you didn't have this. On the flip side, low risk. So in almost a third of the tickets, so 32.8% of tickets, only 5% of the incidents occurred. So only nine incidents occurred within over 85,000 locate requests. That's over 6 times better at identifying low risk than if you didn't leverage these insights. So the next insight that I'd like to cover is screening insights. And so we set out with the hypothesis, as we do as data scientists, and we ask ourselves, can machine learning meet or exceed screening and dispatch performance of traditional methods? This is something we just launched in August. And so the idea is, what's the likelihood that we can safely screen something and not dispatch it to the field? And then also, on the flip side, what do we absolutely need to dispatch to the field? And so we don't even need somebody to look at it. We just know we need to dispatch it. So we ran these experiments, and we came to the conclusion that yes, our first screening models can meet or exceed traditional screening methods. And I want to say one thing. Again, we are not introducing GIS data into the mix in this model. So we did not have any insight on where their as-built were. What we found was the models actually start to figure that out, because by knowing where tickets are and where you're clearing and where you're not clearing, you start to see a more clear picture of, it generates a pretty clear picture of where your assets are based on your historical screening. So I want to explain this just a little bit. On this chart, we have on the left-hand side, let's look at the x-axis. That's the score that the ticket gets from our model. And it's a range of 0 to 100. The tickets on the left-hand side are ones that we are confident can be dispatched. The ones on the right-hand side with the higher scores are ones that we are confident can be screened. And so what's nice is, based on your organization's risk tolerance, you can set these thresholds to whatever you wish, and you can also update them whenever you wish. And so if you wanted to take a risk-averse approach, you may not auto-screen much at all. But if you were more risk-lavish, you might want to screen a little bit more. And so you can set these thresholds up, and I'll show that here in a little bit. But let's just say, for example, that we wanted to auto-screen the top 10% of locate requests that we receive. If we were to do that, there would be a 0.9% false positive rate. So that blue line is your false positive rate. What that represents is a ticket that was screened that should not have been. We want to avoid that as much as we possibly can, because that carries significant risk. So, in other words, if you screen something, but you really should have located it. And something that can come along with that is our risk insights. So if you are on the fence about whether or not to dispatch or clear or screen something, you can reference the incident likelihood or the incident impact. If the likelihood is low and the impact is low, you might decide to screen something that's a little bit on the fence based on the score. Or if it's a high likelihood or high impact, you might decide that you want to dispatch it. On the other end, if we were to decide that we want to auto-dispatch the bottom 30% of locate requests, it would result in a 0.8% false negative rate. What that means is something that you dispatched, a ticket you dispatched, that you really could have cleared. Now the risk with that is you're paying somebody to go out on site when they really didn't need to. And what that equates to is 1 in 125 locate requests. So you could auto-dispatch 30% of your locates and be right over 99% of the time. And like I mentioned before, you can, with your ticket management system, adjust these thresholds based on your risk tolerance. And you could do that on a daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. And it's all very easy. So the value here is automating what can be automated so your resources can focus on things that that need human decision making for. And again, none of us have all the resources that we want. So it's all about allocating those resources and using those limited resources to the best that we can. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is that we are going to do a quiz. So if you haven't already, or if you don't have one in front of you, make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen, because I'm going to ask you to write a few things down. We did this last year, and I thought it was really interesting and fun. So I'll say nobody got all of the answers correct last year. So I'm throwing down a challenge to you right now to see if anybody here can get all of the questions correct. So that's coming up here in just a few minutes. So the last insight that I want to cover today is our explanations. Now, if you're a computer, this is beautiful. If you're a human, even if you're a data engineer or a software engineer, and you look at this, I mean, I'm one of them, and I look at that, and I can't really, it's really hard to comprehend that, right? But this is what we introduced last year. We had these risk explanations. So if you're a computer, it's great because you can say, hey, you can make automations and say, hey, if there's significant risk introduced because of the excavator that's doing the job, I want to send an automated email. Or because of the equipment being used, I want to do a site visit or something like that. So you can automate, use this to automate things. But, and this is a real question that I'm going to ask. What do you think a field locator would say if you put this in front of them? Right, and so that's not really useful for someone in the field that goes and actually does this work in the real world. So what we've done is we've leveraged generative AI and large language models. We've fine-tuned and done some prompt engineering to provide a natural language explanation on why something is high or low risk. And what that looks like is something like this. And so this is a real example. We did anonymize it, so you see the excavation company is company X. But this is a real example of a very high-risk ticket. This is a ticket that's in the 1 percentile, the first percentile. So only 1% of all other tickets have a higher risk score than this ticket. And it shows us the reasons for that. And this is the next step that we're going to start focusing on is, okay, now we know why it's risky. What can we do to mitigate that? And so, again, the takeaway here is human understanding of risk factors is critical for risk mitigation in the field. And I will say that is being integrated into Utilisphere, our ticket management softwares right now. So it's not available yet in Utilisphere, but it will be in the near future. So I mentioned earlier about our ML pipeline and its automated discovery and retraining. I went into this a little bit more last year, but the concept of drift is like ML's mortal enemy, right? So what happens is predictions that you have now, today, that you can make aren't as relevant 5, 10 years from now. And the reason for that is the world changes. You could have new laws that go into play. You could have new excavation practices, new damage prevention practices. So over time, this starts to accumulate over a course of quarters or years. And if you don't consider those changes in the real world, your predictions start becoming less effective. So that is the reason why we made this ML pipeline. One of the main reasons is because every day our models learn from the events of yesterday and apply those learnings to today's predictions. It's crucial to stay relevant when it comes to these predictions. And since we introduced, this is just over the last 7-8 months, since we introduced this new pipeline, we have trained and deployed over 3,100 machine learning models. So, and that's counting every day. It's increasing. It's probably 3,200 by now because I made this presentation a few days ago. So takeaway, Earth Insights constantly learns from today's events for better predictions tomorrow. Delivery, also extremely important. Again, there's no point in doing what we do if we can't put it in the hands of you. So last year I reported our response time for a prediction was 6.4 seconds. That has been reduced to 1.6 second average, which is very fast considering all of the data that's crunched within these models. Very easy integrations. We have native integrations for Earth platforms, but you don't have to use Utilisphere or DigTix in order to get these insights. We do have a RESTful API that you can use to query these insights in real time. And I'm happy to report, this actually surprised me a little bit. We're delivering over 50 million damage prevention insights per year. And that number is steadily growing. So Earth Insights is fast, easy to integrate, scalable, widely adopted, and effective. A couple of our current projects, one of the things that we're focused on over the last few months is weather and the impact that weather has on incident likelihood and impact. We analyzed the weather at 3 distinct periods. One is at the time of the locating. So when the locate is completed, what was the weather like? Between the locate and the incident, very important. If there are floods, if there's rain, if there's high wind, right? What happens between when the marks are on the ground or the flags are on the ground and when the incident occurs? And then finally at the time of the incident. And we analyze things like precipitation, temperature, humidity, cloud cover, and visibility. I don't have, we have some preliminary results, none that I wanted to share today, but I will say there are some interesting findings so far on cloud cover and visibility. They seem to have more of an impact than you might think. But again, we're working through those studies and we'll be finalizing those over the next month or two. Another ongoing study that we're doing is semantic and sentiment analysis. This is pretty tough because, as you know, the excavator or the person creating the ticket at the call center, there are 2, maybe 3 fields that are free text. So you can type whatever you want into there. And that is another mortal enemy of ML, is unstructured data. It just makes it a little more difficult, right? So what we've done is we've started looking at those free-form text fields which contain misspellings and don't make any sense sometimes and aren't relevant, but they do contain a lot of really great information usually. For the detection of certain things like stress, a problem, urgency, anger, things like that. And what we found, again, these are preliminary, but 5 to 10% increase in risk prediction accuracy. And finally, we are doing some geospatial studies to determine what areas are more prone to incidents and when. So we're constantly looking for new data insights. We'll continue to do so. All right, here's the trivia. So if you could take out your paper and pen, and we have, let's see, 5 questions this year. I will say, since nobody got the questions right, all the questions right last year, I think these questions are a little bit easier, but we'll see. And I believe for anybody who does get all the answers right, we do have these here.
Yes, my copy notes.
All right, so we got some prizes for anybody who can get all of these correct. Question number 1, North Carolina utility work type. since we're in North Carolina, I had to pick a North Carolina question. In 2024, year to date, excavations which involve what utility work type have the highest rate of incident? Yeah, Sarah kind of ruined this one for me, but it's okay. All right, let's get your answers down. Answer, water. And we see, if we add up all of the different word type word stems here, we see that they have the highest representation. All right. Question number 2. Northern California incidents by locate, request, transmit day. So this is a 2-part question. In Northern California, since January 2023, so almost 2 years worth of data, locate requests which are transmitted on what day of the week are the most and least likely to result in an incident? So most likely day of the week, least likely day of the week. Couple more seconds here. All right, answers. Monday has the most likelihood, and Sunday has the least likelihood. Monday just edges out some of the other days just barely. But what's interesting here is you call a ticket in on Sunday, and it has half of the chance of resulting in an incident. So we thought that was kind of interesting. Because Saturday is 0.17%, but Sunday's half that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Okay, here's another good one. In all of North America, 2024 year to date, do locate requests that indicate excavation by explosives have a higher or lower chance of resulting in an incident? So this is a yes or no question, or higher or lower answer, yeah. 50-50 shot. The answer is a lower chance. So locate requests, excavations that take place that involve explosives generally do not result in an incident more than ones that do. And one of the interesting things, this is very similar to the if you were here last year, you noticed we had a pre-marking question or white lining question. We believe, this is anecdotal, but we believe that if you're using explosives, you know what you're doing, right? You know that you're an expert. There's more attention given, more resources given to that excavation, right? You don't see a homeowner using blasting to install a fence. So I have a bonus question. How much less likely is it? This one doesn't matter because I don't think you're going to get it. This does not matter for the prize. But how much less likely is an incident? And the answer for that is very significant. It's almost 78%. And so this is a great question because it's a little bit surprising maybe what that it actually reduces the risk, but it demonstrates that we not only are qualitatively measuring these things, we know exactly how much it increases or decreases the risk, right? So that's very important, and that's how we provide these insights that are as accurate as they can be. All right, last question, because I think we're running out of time here. If you attended last year and you have a good memory, you'll know the answer to this. A Midwest gas and electric company a little over a year ago, we went head-to-head with a competitor. And we wanted to see, this Midwest gas electric company wanted to see who could predict incidents better, Irth or the competitor. So how did Irth perform compared to the competitor? I'll give you a hint. It's not A. So get your answers in. Answer is F. So we actually performed over 28% better. I go into this chart last year quite a bit, so again, watch the YouTube video if you want to get an explanation on it. But I'll say this is before all of the improvements that we made this year. So I would venture to guess if we went to head again, we would be even significantly more than 28% better. So how did you do? Did anybody get all of them correct? Come on, somebody. Nobody? Oh, man. All right, last thing that I'm going to ask you to do here today. We did this last year and we did this year. I think it's a fun little way to kind of demonstrate, what some of our findings are. So I'd like to put in your hands, write down at least one question that you would want to see answered in maybe next year's presentation or maybe a podcast that we put out here sooner. So write down a question related to incident risk that you would like us to answer. Some examples might be, how does the planned depth of excavation contribute to risk? Somebody, I think, was asking about that, North Carolina Stake Center. How does the area of the excavation contribute to risk? And a couple other examples there below that. So write down your question and then tear that page out, and I'd like you to pass it to one of the ends. Maybe let's go this way, because I like to collect those, and I'm going to see if we can put together those insights and get you answers on those. All right, coming soon. In Q1 of next year, we're going to continue our leveraging additional data sources for improved insight. That's the weather studies that we're doing and some other, the semantics and some other studies that we have going on. After that, interactive BI visualizations and dashboards at the national, state, and company level. And then we will continue to provide new insights. I'm not at liberty right now to go into what we have planned, but we have some really, really great things in the hopper. So I look forward to next year being up here and telling you all about all the things we do in between now and then. So recap. What did I tell you about today? About how we empower organizations to increase safety, operational efficiency, and cost savings. How we are uniquely positioned to do that. How we make those insights accessible, easy to obtain, and explain them. That's very important. And then about our team, who is very excited with the work that we're doing and will continue to do. So. And Q&A. I know it's right before lunch, but let's get at least a couple of questions. Yep.
This is maybe a question Kyle should have asked earlier. I believe it's been quite a while back, Earth maybe was experimenting with receiving data from an actual locate machine, whether by picture, GPS coordinate, if they were capable of doing that, and it automatically uploading in the Earth program. Is there any views about whether that would be in the future?
So the actual integration with Utilisphere, I can't speak to that, but I do know that that is something that is a very valuable data set that we would love to incorporate into our data science pipeline.
And Kyle, one thing about that, we are working with a manufacturer right now. So that's in the works here to try to form a partnership with them to get that data. Yep, great question.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. Well, thanks everyone again for your time and coming here today. Very happy to be here. So thank you.